This is Eric from Not BIOS. In this monitor re-review of some basic details, including my thoughts on this monitor, I'll be going over how to assemble this monitor and interpolation. So I'm going to be using the 1440p and also showing what 1080p looks like on this screen. Some screens actually suffer from bad interpolation. So the way it, interprets, you can say, 1440 to 1080. So let's get started. So let's say you got your new flat screen. Yes, it is a flat screen right out of the box. And you're wondering, how do I assemble this? It is very, very simple. I'll show you. Please keep note of this piece right down here. Keep note of that button right above the information label on the monitor. It is important if you want to unassemble this monitor stand. And before we continue, on the top is your USB hub port. To the top right side are two USB 3.0 ports. To the left, your display port in, two HDMI port in, and one headphone or speaker out. And on the bottom right-hand side is your power in. So now you have everything in the box, you're ready to assemble. Where do you start? I would start right here with the big arm. You put the top part in first and drop, and it's in. If I want to take it out, I push that switch I showed and lift. Otherwise, it's nice and sturdy. Now next, you'll grab this part and screw it into your stand. Nice snug. Push the clip down, lift up, and you are done. You'll notice here, there's a rubber pad here, and there's a rubber pad on this side. This stops the monitor from sliding all around your desk. So when I lift it up, it's not going to slide all over your desk at all. I have to use quite a bit of force. Monster. Be careful about buying some of the dollar store brands. Some of the dollar store brands can actually damage the layer on the outside of your monitor if you're not careful. So make sure you know what you're getting. This monitor has a light anti-glare coating on it. What this means is, in bright lights, you can get a lot of reflection. You don't get a grainy look to your image, and you get a sharper image because of the light coating. This monitor is G-Sync compatible, not truly G-Sync, but it's been tested by NVIDIA to meet their standards. 8 5/8 of an inch. This is as far as it goes. Then it turns this direction till it ends right here. Tilt. Sharpness I recommend to be around 60%. At 0%, it's very blurred. Gets a bit sharp as you go on. 60% is a fine place to be. But if you're looking at text and you go up in your sharpness, the text, especially when there's gray, like right here, starts to get a bit of a white haze around it. It's up to you what you want to use. 100% does look good for sharpness, but honestly, 60-70% is your happy point to be. On your general menu, you have your language settings. A lot of different options out of the box. Your energy savings mode, how much energy you want to save. I don't care for a power LED on, so if you want to know that your screen's on and you want to be bothered by an LED on while you're watching a movie, it's up to you. Automatic standby, you can set the screen to automatically go to off mode. DisplayPort version 1.4, you can enable or disable. OSD lock on or off. You can see the information of what settings you have. In my case, total power on hours is 190 hours that I've used this monitor. And you can reset all your settings to default if you want to go to yes. So this is the menu. You can choose between DisplayPort, HDMI 1 or HDMI 2. And that menu was input. Or if you go down here, you go to game mode and you can switch between your menus quick and easily. Gamer 1, Gamer 2, first person shooter, RTS. But for some reason, through that mode, they do not give you your sRGB. All of a sudden here, you don't have your vivid. You don't have your reader, which reader I would not recommend for normal use. Colors are very dull. HDR effect, I find it gives a bit of a compression look, which you should be able to notice, especially underneath these platforms. It does not look quite as nice. sRGB looks kind of blurred in comparison. Right now I turned up the brightness, but in sRGB, if you want the most accurate colors, by default it's only 40, which 40 brightness is quite low. You may not like that very much because your white colors are really faded. It's hard to see on camera when it's recording because the camera adjusts. Cameras overexpose in dark situations purposely by design since they seek light. IPS glow from the panel film makes it appear worse than it really is. DisplayPort allows 10-bit color, which is 1.07 billion colors. HDMI does not allow G-Sync through NVIDIA cards and is 8-bit only, 16.7 million colors. USB, all USB ports are 3.0. This is the hub cable for USB hub. I use Gamer 2. I already did my adjustments, but black stabilizer is normally 60. I changed it to 55 because if you go too high, your blacks become more gray and then you lose the details in the dark colors. Response time by default. Oh, come on. Response time by default is set to fast, and I do not recommend faster or else you get ghosting or trailing behind the image. It's actually reverse ghosting, which gives more like a blue haze usually. Some of you might be wondering, what about interpolation? Interpolation is when you change your screen resolution and the screen copes with the setting. That's the best and most simplest way for me to describe it. So at 1440p, let's go down to 1080p resolution and see how it looks. Texts are actually much bolder. It does not suffer from any major problem for interpolation. And images still look decently sharp. Here are some pictures. And you might wonder, why didn't I just use a pass-through to record the screen? What happens is you see what the computer sees or the device you're displaying through sees, not what you personally see. After a full month of using this monitor, I still really like it. Depending on what setting you use, you may like it more or less. If you use, say, sRGB, you might find the colors are not as vivid and they look flat, but that's where your realistic colors are. Now, if you want a little bit overshot, go with Gamer 1 or Gamer 2. I recommend 55 for your black equalizer. If you go higher than that, you start to wash out your blacks and they'll become more gray. just so you know. That's something very important if you want accurate color. For sharpness, I recommend using anywhere between 50 to 70. You can use higher if you like, and it looks good still, other than you'll have some glow around some of your texts that are surrounded in gray colors. Thank you for watching this episode of Not BIOS. I'll have a link below to Linus Tech Tips, so if you want to see an image of the motion blur or lack thereof, you'll be able to see it. Also, please consider liking and subscribing to this video. Feel free to hit the bell icon. You get notifications on my next upload. Right now, I'm working on a history of advanced micro devices. Currently, part 1 is up, and by mid-September, part 2 should be up, and by the end of the month, part 3. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and if you like, support me on Patreon. $1 a month goes a long way. Have yourselves a wonderful day.